Greetings and welcome to another episode of Pop's Collection. I'm Ron Tweedy. Joining me is Pops, and today we're going to be talking about Punisher Warzone.
Hello, everybody. Glad you're with us today. Hopefully, this will not be punished for you. But anyways, this 2008 movie was actually the third installment of the Punisher series. It's not really a sequel. It was starting out, it was going to be a sequel, Punisher 2, with Thomas Jane again. And also they were going to have Hensley direct that also. Mm-hmm. It was supposed to be called Welcome Back, Frank. Then they changed the name again and again. This film was, just, it somehow wasn't going to make it, I don't think, just the way that everything fell into place. The director of this film, I'm forgetting her name right off the top of my head.
Anderson?
Lexi, that's right. She had a lot of conflict with this film, with Lionsgate and Marvel.
Yep.
There was like a three-way argument, and what wound up happening is that Marvel fell on the side of Lionsgate, which I think was a bad thing, because by the end of the movie, she didn't even do the final cuts.
Yeah,
it was done by Lionsgate,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. This is really considered a reboot of a reboot.
Mm-hmm. Which is why I was kind of confused when you said series, because series would entail that there's continuity between them, and there's not any.
No, there was supposed to be, but it didn't work out. Between all of the haggling and everything, I think that it might have been a good movie. I loved Dominic's portrayal of Jigsaw, or Billy the Beaut, if you'd rather.
Mm-hmm.
I liked his portrayal of that. I loved the thick, heavy New York accents all throughout,
Except for Frank Castle's accent.
Except for Frank Castle's, correct. And I like Wayne Knight's character, Microchip.
Yep.
And so this thing, after, they did base it somewhat on the Marvel Max comics that were adult only.
Right. Yeah, that was the thing I was going to bring up, is that you can't read those in the Marvel Unlimited app because of their content, I think.
Adult content.
Yeah, it's
right.
It's pretty, like, I even found some screenshots of some of the pages, and I'm not going to share them because they have a lot of profanity in them.
Yes. And which is, I guess in context, maybe, I could see that, but I don't think that it necessarily has to be that way. When we talked before you saw it, I told you that I was going to watch the 89 Dolph Lundgren one, because our last episode about the Punisher movie, you had said that you were, spoiled by John Bernthal, and so I thought, that poses a question: who did the best job of Punisher?
Mm-hmm.
So I thought I had to watch the Dolph Lundgren one again, just to scope it out and see if I could make a good decision about that. Which we should get to that maybe a little later. First, what was your impressions of the film?
I mean, for what it is, I liked it. I don't have a whole lot to say about it. We kind of covered the character of Frank Castle. This is more of the same. Just, all of the violence and roughness of the other movie that we saw. It's just taken up to 11. Everything is just hyper violent.
Oh,
really,
yes.
really colorful language. So and I think that from a filmmaking standpoint, it is a lot better than the Thomas Jane movie. Just the quality of the cinematography, some of the CG that they used to simulate blood and other gory things was comically bad, which was good, because I'd rather my violence be comically bad. So that was good. And just the body count in this movie is pretty tremendous.
Well, it was a war zone.
Yeah. So
I so agree with you to an extent. I thought it totally hilarious that they had the gang that could, jump all through the buildings and everything. And they said, "Oh, they're going to rob a grocery store," and you get the grocery owner with a machete in the middle of his forehead. I'm like, really? Yeah.
No, the worst one by far was when Frank Castle broke the wine glass and stabbed the guy through the neck. That was the most fake looking thing, I think, in the whole film. And it was comically bad, like I said.
Yes. Well, that's, I've come to the conclusion, again, because I chose to watch the 89 version, which to me, it strayed from the story a lot, but they did try to, it still got an R rating.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't think that there has been a good Punisher movie made. And I don't think that there really can be. Like you, I've come to the conclusion that John Bernthal, definitely the best Punisher.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that a lot of that is based on this fact that the story unfolded over numerous episodes.
Sure.
Which for me is, character development. I think that if you tried to do a Punisher movie and totally develop Frank Castle, there would probably be violence, but not as much violence as they've portrayed in these three movies. Because I think that's the more interesting part of the story.
Okay.
Right, which in the Punisher comics that you can read, you get that. Mm-hmm. You get the story development, the character development, not only for Castle, but for Jigsaw and the other criminals, bosses that they choose to use in the different, comics. So I just think that, unfortunately, this particular version, this reboot version, did terrible at the box office.
Yeah.
It had a $35 million budget, and it only grossed $10.1 million, as opposed to the 89 Dolph Lundgren version, which had a $9 million budget and wasn't even shown in the United States. It was only shown overseas. It did over 30 million in DVD sales when it came out in the United States. So, I can't really say that much was much of a success, but this version actually was the worst grossing Marvel movie in history. I don't know what the Eternals is, but it was lower than Elektra and Howard the Duck.
Yeah, that is pretty shocking.
That's terrible, isn't it?
Yeah, and to me, that's kind of, well, I have a theory of why that is, but the from a quality standpoint, this movie is a lot better than Howard the Duck and Elektra. But
no question.
My theory is that, to put the movie in its proper, chronological context, this came out right at 7 months after Iron Man came out, right? And so what people wanted in a superhero movie was something that was not rated R, and something that was, something a little bit better from a, I guess, a more wide appeal. And then I also believe that based on the, fighting with Lexi Alexander and Lionsgate, they probably killed it with, hardly any marketing. So.
Yes, that's true. I think so too. And another thing that I thought might have been an issue is its release date. It was released in December, Christmas time.
Right.
I
mean, it's
a happy, feel-good time.
Well,
not a time that you're going to want to go to see, a blood and guts movie. Yeah. I think.
Maybe.
I mean, and plus, you're cutting out a lot of the comic book audience with your R rating.
Right, but in its defense, though, the fact that the source material is based off of adult content comics, you don't want to make it kid-friendly because then you'll alienate the audience, so I think they made the right decision. If they were going to base it off the Punisher Max line, then make it rated R. You'd have to.
Right.
So, I just think that I think it probably could find the audience that they, were looking for. But, it's one of those things where I think it was wrong place, wrong time, and also the fact is they didn't want to, go through with it, marketing it the correct way.
Right. Well, I think, like you said, that was Lionsgate's issue.
Yeah.
It actually, when it came out on DVD and Blu-ray, it actually did better than it did in the box office. It did over 14 million.
Yeah.
In DVD and Blu-ray sales.
Yeah.
But
the thing that shocks me is that they spent, I think it was like $2 million more than the last film, and it looks so much better, which is kind of shocking to me.
Well, there's a 4-year difference in the time frame.
Sure.
And right, like you said, there was a difference. The Thomas Jane version was decidedly no CG, and they actually had a shorter shoot time than Lexi did for this film.
Right.
And I think that if it wasn't such a big crunch, that maybe the Thomas Jane one could have been a little better. I don't know.
Yeah.
Ray Stevenson, how do you feel about him as the Punisher?
I think he looks the part the most out of most of the guys. Like, he definitely looks the part. His accent is not good. I'll throw that out there.
And he is a good actor.
Oh, he's a great actor. I think he's a fantastic actor. Like I said, his accents leaves a little bit to be desired, but he does. When he's not, and there's a good portion of the movies when he's not talking. So, when he's not talking and doing the action stuff, and he definitely carries himself like you would expect a Frank Castle would. So I think he actually did a good job.
When it comes to that, he also played a good remorseful character.
Sure.
When he found out that he killed a cop,
FBI agent.
A law enforcement officer.
Federal
law
enforcement officer.
Yes. So that was kind of interesting, and I like the way they went with microchip in here.
Yeah, Wayne Knight is actually really good in this film.
Yes, he is.
Actually, I think it's actually his best performance I've ever seen. I'll put that out there.
I could see where you would think that. He's done some quirky characters. Let's, put that out there too.
I've enjoyed, like when he's in Jurassic Park or, even Space Jam is fine. But like the character he plays in this is a lot different than those characters. And I think he did a good job.
Yes. Oh, no question. I'm sorry he got it at the end, but hey,
well, that is in keeping with the Punisher Max series. They kill him at the end of the first story arc, so it's not unheard of.
That to me, that much they were faithful to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of sorry that they didn't go with the Welcome Back Frank story, but
we got most of that in the Thomas Jane version, so I wouldn't want them to rehash that. I wouldn't want them to do that.
Well, yeah, I guess that's part of the reasoning, because Lionsgate came at the end, purchasing Artisan at the end of that.
Yeah.
So they really had no say in the Thomas Jane, but they really pushed their say in this one.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was to the film's detriment. Like I said, I loved the Jigsaw. The makeup on the Jigsaw character was done very well.
Yeah.
And I do like how there were a lot of scenes from the movie that were just straight out of the comic book, like looking up the building where Jigsaw was going into and seeing the moon right there. That straight out of a comic book, slot, one of the pictures out of that.
Yeah.
I saw a number of those shots.
Mm-hmm.
And some, like, even with the Jigsaw character himself.
Yeah.
Just when they showed his face and you could see that that came direct out of the comic book.
Mm-hmm.
So I enjoyed that part of it. I like the CG. This, again, I don't know that any of these movies were, out of all three of them, were actually a Punisher movie that I would give a real high rating to.
Okay.
I love the story in the Dolph Lundgren one.
Okay.
I think that if you could get the Punisher to fight the Yakuza, I think that would be pretty cool.
Is that what happens in the Dolph Lundgren one, or is that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they come to New York and they want to take over what the Syndicate has been doing. That story is 5 years after, and so he's already he's just killing off everybody that involved with organized crime.
Sure.
So they want to come in and take over. I thought, wow, that would be a great story, to see Castle battle them,
Yeah.
Because then you've got martial arts and stuff that you can deal with.
Yeah.
That would be different. Also, the swords, and that would be a lot more gore, I guess.
Sure.
But I thought in this movie, the scenery, and the makeup were done very well.
Oh yeah. And particularly I think back to the church scene. It is very beautifully shot, and so
yes, no question.
For all its flaws, and it does have flaws, I actually think that it does have its really interesting moments. So
yes, there are quite a few, but I just feel like that Stevenson, I don't know if he was just going through the motions. There were times in that film that I just his character didn't grab me, which is surprising because he did choose to research all of the Max comics
Right.
for his part. So you would figure that, I don't know. I just thought he would be a little different, He did good, but I don't know. Something is missing there for me.
Okay.
Okay. What did you think about the what's the other character? Soap?
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah, that's his guy on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a good explanation for that.
Yeah.
And here's the guy that's never caught him, and he's never going to catch him because doesn't want to catch him.
Right.
So how do you feel about that, though? I mean, do you think that that's just like you always see on different TV shows where the police and the federal government are not on the same page, and how that something like that could happen where he would kill a federal agent not knowing that he was undercover.
Mm-hmm.
Is that do you think that's a viable story direction that you could go with on this?
Sure. I mean,
it's bound to happen. That's something that happens.
It's bound to happen. I mean, if you have, people, police or law enforcement using undercover, I do it all the time. And you have a mass, or not a mass, an unmasked vigilante in this case, executing criminal. There's going to be collateral damage. It happens. I'm sure that happens, where you have one agency going undercover and the other one tries to bust it, and they realize they've been, they blow something. That's actually a plot point to a lot of law enforcement stuff. So,
yes, that's true. That is true. But I guess he did handle it pretty well,
I suppose.
I mean, I don't think that she wouldn't take the money, but
yeah,
we never really found out what happened with the money.
I just assume he brought it back to his hideout and it was there. They use it to fund all the guns and ammo that he has to buy and blow people.
No, I'm just saying with the when Jigsaw, the plot point where Jigsaw went after his wife and daughter.
Oh, no, it went through the nose of that other FBI agent. He said that while they were driving with Soap. But
okay, I guess I missed that.
Yeah.
I knew that he said something about it going up his nose, but right. I didn't think it was his money. So now I know.
Yeah, it was Jigsaw's money.
Okay. All right. So he never even had the money then.
Right.
That's okay. All right, I'm good with that. So what else you want to talk about?
I think that's it. I mean, like I said, I liked the movie. Don't have a lot to say about it. It's crazy, stupid fun, and that's about it. If you can stomach the gore, and you don't mind a lot of profanity, it's a good action movie.
All right, so here's my question for you, and this is, like I said, you haven't seen the Dolph Lundgren one,
right?
So you really can't make a judgment on that.
Yeah.
But again, are you going to stick with your John Bernthal being the best Punisher?
Based solely off of Daredevil season 2, yeah. I know that they gave Punisher its own series on Netflix for 2 seasons, but I'll be honest with you, if I did see it, I forgot everything in it. So I will say with the caveat that I'm only basing that off of his performance in season 2 of Daredevil. So
okay,
that's what I'd say. He's still the best based on that. But my opinion might change if I go back. I'm going to go back eventually and watch the Punisher series and just see what they do with it. But
well, I do own it on DVD, and actually both seasons, excuse me, were two different plot lines,
right?
But they were both done very well.
Okay.
I do have to say that they were both as graphic as this movie. So, but the question I have for you, would you watch that movie again?
Sure.
Okay. So, yeah, I tried to decide how I was going to base my judgment of who was the best Punisher.
Okay.
I would watch the series again.
Yeah.
And I guess I would watch all of them, but the Dolph Lundgren and Thomas Jane are a little cringeworthy.
Are they?
As opposed to well, you know how the Thomas Jane one was. We talked about it last week.
Yeah, I won't be watching that one again.
No. And like I said, I watched that, the first one, and there was just a lot of things that I really didn't care for. I love the plot line, but, and the fact that Dolph does a lot of his own stunts, and I never knew that he at one time was a heavyweight karate champion. I didn't know that, so
who was?
He was Dolph Lundgren.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I thought he was like a bodybuilder or something. I didn't know that he, for his size, 220 pounds, and being able to do karate, which he did a lot of that in the, scenes where they use that kind of fighting stunts.
Okay.
So
okay,
it was interesting, to say the least. But I don't know that I would, aggressively say, oh yeah, I'm going to watch the first Punisher again,
Okay.
So I'm going to go again. I'm going to say that the Stevenson movie was probably the best done out of all of them, but I still don't feel that there's been a really, really, really well done Punisher movie yet.
Okay.
All right. So nothing left then but the rating.
Sure.
And I'm going to let you go first this time.
Okay. Well, I might, surprise you. I do think this is actually an above average movie for what it is. So I'm going to give it a 6. Like I said, I think it's, I agree with your assessment that it is the best Punisher movie, even though I haven't seen the Dolph Lundgren yet one, which I will see eventually. But, I thought for what it is, it's really good.
Well, I could always bring it up next time, or next time I see you, we could watch it together.
Sure.
But I think that I am going to give it a 5.5. It's above average, but I was disappointed a lot with it,
Okay.
I mean, again, I think most everybody, the critics and people were disappointed with it. And I think, like you say, probably because they were expecting something spectacular like Iron Man.
Or family friendly.
Well, I mean, let's face it. Can you do a family friendly Punisher movie?
I think you can. Whether it would be good or not, I don't know, but I think you can.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you remember. Well, you should remember when we did like the Captain America.
Yeah.
The old Captain America movies, and somebody would get shot.
Yeah.
And there'd be no blood at all.
Yeah.
So I guess you could do that and not show any blood.
Sure.
And still get the point across, I guess.
Actually, I think you might even be able to do it, where the majority of the violence is implied, They had a little bit of that here, when he puts, I forget the guy's name, the guy who was working with Micro, when he finds him in the lair, almost dead, he puts him out of his misery. They did that off camera, so.
That's correct. They just darkened it, and it's implied.
Yeah, so I think you could do that, honestly.
Yes, but you couldn't do it too much in a movie like that, because violence is a major part of the movie.
Yeah.
A major part of the character.
Well, there's violence, and then there is gratuitous violence, right? I think you put it in its proper context, it ends up being something different, so.
All right, well, I could go with that. All right, well, good. All right, so are we going to do another R-rated movie next week?
Well, did you give it a rating? I don't know if you gave it a rating.
I 5.5.
Okay. All right. Just
above average.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think we're gonna do another rated R movie, aren't we? Because we talked about doing V for Vendetta, a movie that came out. It's probable intentions for the story that it was trying to tell might have had one thing in mind, and now with 2022 eyes, might have a whole different meaning. So I'd like to go back and watch that, kind of similar to what we experienced with watching 300. So we'll see on that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, sure. I could see that. Have you seen it before?
Yeah, a long time ago, back when it first came out.
Right. So, all right. Yeah. That's Hugo Weaving, right?
And Natalie Portman. So two, both the Red Skull and Jane Foster together.
Right. And we're talking V for Vendetta is a DC thing.
Yes, it was published under DC's name, and it was Alan Moore who wrote it. So.
Yes. Yeah. Which was good.
Yeah.
Definitely. I like the comic.
Okay.
All right. Anyways, good. So then that's it for now.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week with V for Vendetta. Goodbye and God bless.
Goodbye. God bless. And tell your friends.